What is up, my tricksters? It's your friendly neighborhood Yu-Gi-Oh! Superhero back again, and this time we're going to be doing something a little different than the content that you are used to. Today's video will be featuring a meta deck, because I don't normally really do meta decks. I always do kind of offshoot stuff, but a friend of mine said, hey, I think something that might be a good idea for a series for you to do, or something you should start doing on your channel, is to start making more mainstream deck profiles and just showcase what you would do if you had access to those cards. And I said, you know what, that's not a bad idea. So that's gonna be something we're just adding to the repertoire. So if you're a budget player, don't freak out. I'm still gonna do the budget stuff. I'm still gonna showcase you deck profiles that are built off of my own personal card pool like I normally do, but I am gonna start adding stuff that is for everybody else. You know, that's just, you know, because as a content creator, I still gotta try to appease the masses. So anyway, before we get into the replay footage and the deck profile, Frank is going to give you guys a quick message on how you can support this channel. Take it away, Frank!
Yeah, that's right. I'm going to show you how to support this channel, because if you don't do it, I'm going to put a Cyber Dragon in your hardware, and it's going to bite you every time you buy something that isn't from the Spring Store. You hear me? Now buy a shirt with my face on it. Here's how you're going to do that. You're going to come over here. You see this little black dot? You're going to click on it. And you see this? It's going to bring you to a white page. Okay, there it goes. Then it's going to bring you to a page. You see all this stuff? This one right here is the one you want to buy, because it's got my face on it. You might also be able to support this channel by, going and clicking in the description of any video and buying a sleeve from your playmats. But they don't have to, if they don't have my face on it, I'm going to be mad about it. Understood? I'm gonna, excuse me, I'm gonna go glare at Ben some more.
Frank, now please, for the love of God, buy a t-shirt. He's always giving me the stink eye. Anyway, let's get into that replay footage, and I'll see you guys on the other side for the deck profile. All right, there you have it, guys. That was the replay footage for my kooky Spright deck. So we're going to go over it, and we're going to talk about it. It does look a little weird. We're going to talk about it. All right, so the first things first, we got our Ash Blossoms. This bitch blossom, as I nickname it. Because I hate this card. I truly do. I don't think this card should exist, but unfortunately, you have to play it right now. It's BS, but you have to play it. It's kind of a necessary evil. Then you got your Spright Pixies. Now, I know a lot of Spright decks don't play this. I like playing it because I like having an Honest-like card. Also, it does boost the defense as well as the attack, unlike Honest. So that's just kind of a fun little thing you have there going. Also, that applies to any Level 2, Rank 2, or Link 2. So, I don't know. If battling becomes more relevant, then, yeah, I think this is definitely something you might want to keep in mind if you're playing those kind of things. We got your Spright Jet. This is one of our Stratos-type cards. Now, before I go any further, for the casual players, I know all the meta players already know this, but for the casual players, if you decide to ever put a Spright engine in one of your decks, just remember the Spright Jet and Spright Blue do not get searches off of normal summoning like most Stratos-like monsters. These guys specifically require being special summoned to do their searching. Just keep that in mind. Do not normal summon these guys, alright? So Jet is going to give you a spell or a trap. So this is what we're going to be searching starter, and we're going to be searching smashers. And Blue is going to search you all the other Spright monsters. So usually you'll go for Blue, then get Jet, and that's how you go plus for the entire turn. Then you have Spright Red. I chose to play 2 because I felt like monsters were more of a threat than spells and traps. Although after playtesting, I may have been incorrect about that because it seems to me that a lot of players are kind of switching to more back row based decks, which I find frustrating, but unsurprising. So this may be in the future, I might switch to more of a Spright, double Spright Carrot and 1 red instead of the flip like I have currently. But yeah, Carrot, and also Carrot might also be something that should see side in decks that also have level 2 access. You know, just, like if you're playing Paleozoic and you want to throw Spright Red and a Spright Carrot in your sideboard, those would not be the worst options, just saying. For a future video or deck idea for you guys. And then, okay, we also have the little frog engine in here. I wanted to not play this honestly because I don't really like the frogs, but I do have to acknowledge results, much to my chagrin. But it is what it is. So we have the Toad stuff in here. I think all the Spright players are playing this because Totally Awesome is just that powerful. And yeah. Alright, then we got our Gamma stuff. You got your Psyframe Driver. He's a brick every time. I hate this card. Stop. I wish Edo Pro would stop putting it in my hand. But Edo Pro doesn't listen to me about fixing their hand problems. Anyway, then we got Psyframe Gamma. This card is a negate. Also really good against the mirror match because basically if you can make it to where your opponent doesn't have a level 2, you win. And that's where Gamma kind of fills that role, as well as a negate. Because you don't really care if you get to keep doing it or not because it's more about having a target for E-Telly than it is about Psyframe Gamma being a hand trap. It just so happens that it's also a really good hand trap. Anyway, now we're getting into my weird wonkiness. Alright, so I have 2 Ipra, or Ipira. I don't know how you say that. Anyway, it's a level 2 reptile. Basically, all it does is it draws you a card on summon. That's it. That's all it does. But it's a free +1, and I like that, especially in this deck. It's just like, oh, cool, plus, and then you'll go plus, and then you'll go plus. Literally, you'll go +3 and +2, +3, and like no problem in this deck. And Ipra just serves as another card that can kind of facilitate that. Deep Sea Diva in here, I kind of kept it at 2 because I kind of felt like it's all. I know that why other Spright players do it at 3 because they want to see it. In my case, they're serving the same purpose, honestly. Like, Ipra's just adding the card to your hand instead of putting it on the field, but either way, it doesn't matter. The point is, Diva here is just gonna summon another Diva, or, they're not playing like a 4th random Sea Serpent. So I just felt 2 and 2 was fine. And it turns out it never was a problem. Never. Diva's never a dead card, especially now, and then the deck's done. I'm done with it. I don't need to worry about getting another one. I don't have to worry about having a dead Diva in the deck. That's kind of what I'm avoiding here. That's up to you players if you decide it. Because that's the thing with the Diva, you play 3 so you see it, but there's always going to be a dead Diva. You guys get what I'm saying? So, Then we got our Dark Ruler No Mores. Every Sprite player is that, from what I've seen, is doing a mix of board breakers and they're doing a mix of board breaking and hand traps. So our board breaker is the Kamehameha wave of the Yu-Gi-Oh card game. Dark Ruler No More. So basically that's what we're doing. We're turning off the opponent's turn so we can play, and, you know, excuse me. It also makes for an easy card to side out if you don't need it, because this deck has a lot of, like, searchability and built-in negation, so oftentimes they may not necessarily need a card like this, but, you know, it's there if you need it. Spright Starter, it's the E-Telly for the sprites. That's really all it is. E-Telly and Spright Starter are literally the same card. It's just this one's for sprites, this one's for psychics. They're pretty much the same card. The only difference is this doesn't kill the card at the end of the turn like E-Telly, so you gotta use it or lose it. Then you got your Called by the Grave. I wish this card was at 3, so this card would stop seeing play, but, you know, that's just wishful thinking. Anyway. Most of the time, you're going to use it to tell a tier element player to buzz off. Then we got our Smashers. This is a spot removal card. Very necessary. You're going to need this no matter what kind of Sprite build you're playing. You're going to need a Spright Smashers. It's searchable spot removal. It will be necessary, especially because Mystic Mine is seeing an uptick in play, and Spright just so happens to have a searchable out to it. So, yeah, you're going to want this card in your deck. And you're going to want to search it as the first opportunity you can do so. If you do not need starter, right now while Mystic Mine is legal, I would search Smashers and hang on to it. Then you have your Imperms. Again, this card also is kind of a pseudo board breaker / hand trap, I would argue, just because you can also drop it on your turn. So it's kind of a card your opponent has to answer, as well as, you know, there's also potential for turning off back row cards and all that stuff. It's a fantastic card. Yeah. No more to say about that. All right, so the extra deck. We have a Zeus, because if you can play XEs, you need to be abusing that. We also, in a minute, we'll talk about the weird-looking sideboard, but we'll get to that. Zeus is really, you know what I mean, Zeus. He's just a better Exciton Knight. And then we got our Downer Magician. This card is, after one of these guys does battle, you get to throw this card on top of it, and that'll let you get to your Zeus and give your Zeus the ability to go off twice and clear boards, which is relevant. As this card's also a Piercer, just FYI. That may come up for some of you. Then we also have Totally Awesome, the Omni Negate that we have to play, and the card that will probably catch the axe. If this deck is ever going to get touched on a future ban list, this is the card that's going to catch the axe. I'm telling you that right now. Honestly, I don't feel like Sprite's really all that broken, but, you know, it's good. I'm just saying it's not broken. You know what I mean? Totally Awesome is the card that I think, unfortunately, will catch the axe for this deck, and then you'll just see them switch strategies. We got Cavalry. This card is also so you can climb into the primary target to climb into Zeus. Gigantic Spright, this card is just to search out these the level 2s we need. Sometimes it's a blue, sometimes it's a Swap Frog to start off the Toad plays. Yeah, Gigantic Spright is usually what leads to Toad plays. Then we got I got Gin Buster in here just because I wanted a little bit of extra negation. So literally a jet and a pig and a blue, and voila, you have the 2 level 2 dark monsters you need for it. Access Code Tugger, because this guy is a game ender, and that is his sole purpose. His point is to end the game, and that's what he's here for. Nightmare Unicorn, it's one of the cards you're going to use primarily with another card that's in here on the opponent's turn to shift something back. Nightmare Phoenix, getting rid of problematic back row. Hulk Fibrax, it's one of the ways we can climb into Access Code, as well as get card advantage. Then we have Spright Elf, which is, you know, just a fantastic card. This card is a quick play Monster Reborn, essentially, on both players' turn, giving us back our level 2 monsters. Or if the opponent has a monster, we can also get back rank and other link 2s. It's not always relevant on that one, but it is always relevant to get back monsters. And then we have IP Masquerena. This is the card I was mentioning to turn Nightmare Unicorn into a quick play card. So it's relevant in that aspect. And then we have a Salamander Almirage, which is mostly just used to get rid of a card well, that I might need in the graveyard immediately, as well as to climb into things. That's all it serves its purpose. It's just link climbing. That's it. All right, so that's the whole extra deck. Nothing really all that special, to be honest. And then we go into my sideboard, which does look a little bit strange. You do not have to do what I'm doing, just FYI. I just threw what I thought would be useful in here, and based this also off of what I was seeing as I was testing out this deck. So the first thing that you're seeing here is Gate Blocker. Because the Spright deck is not so normal summon reliant, I thought, okay, cool. My sideboard can have Gate Blocker. This is just one of many handful of cards out there that kind of tell Mystic Mind players to buzz off. That's what this guy is for. Because basically, you normal summon this guy, it doesn't activate, it just negates the field spell, and now you're free to punch the crap out of them. Gate Blocker. It also will stop spell counter-based cards, but that's not really all that relevant in this deck. Then we have our DD Crow. This is for Tier Elements to tell them to buzz off. This is going to look stupid, I know, so please do not put this in your sideboard. But it's only in here because I came across a handful of Shark players on Edo Pro that were playing Crooked Cook, and they were stalling me out because I had, like, no way to get over them. Well, now I do with this guy, because I can just keep punching with this guy. Basically, I would just keep you punching with this guy, take their life points out because he does piercing. If they do happen to take him out, I'm going to bring back a Spright Blue and get another Surge, because that's what he does. Might be a card that might actually see some play in this deck in the future. Who knows? Then we got a bunch of back row hate because fuck Mystic Mind players. Fuck all of you. I truly mean that. And I mean all the variants too. Whether it's Burn, Runic, Sky Striker, Mystic Mind, that's a thing. Screw all of you. None of you should be playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Period. I want all the Mystic Mind players to quit and leave. So that is why we're playing all 4 of these cards. We're playing all these cards to basically tell those guys, you don't get to play Yu-Gi-Oh! And you don't deserve to play Yu-Gi-Oh! And watch them get really mad about it. Anyway, we got L Barrier here because there are lots of Fusion and Exceeds and Synchro-based decks going around. Sword Soul's still here. Tier Element, obviously, all the branded builds are still roaming around. So, yeah, you're going to need something. That's why I have this in here. And then, of course, more back row hate because I hate back row-based decks. I just do. Honestly, I don't really like the Spright deck either. There are certain kinds of decks that I feel like are the true spirit of Yu-Gi-Oh! And this is not one of them. But that is a conversation for another day. Anyway, guys, I hope you liked it. This was my version of the Spright deck. I hope you found this at least interesting. I know that most of my audience is very casual, and this is not their type of gameplay. But this is how I would play it if I was going to play Spright. Anyway, guys. If you're new to the Ben 10,000 yugioh channel, please remember to like the video and subscribe. And I will catch you in the next one. Peace.